Hello, today I'm going to do these little word wheels with you all. So I'll show you them first. Here's the first one. As you can see, smiling, laughing, loving, being. So they're just some little inspirational words, and then I popped this well-being on the bottom. And then this is another version. All right, and this one says a new season of adventure awaits. What I did here, by the way, it was a shiny word from a magazine, and sometimes I just sand those back, but what I did in this case was I just popped some tissue paper over it, and when you put the glue on you can still see the word through it, and I just thought that would be nice, and that purple went with the purple of the flower behind. As you can see, you can pop that on the edge of a page and just easily spin it around on the back. So all I've done is I've cut a circle, and then I actually used my pinking shears to go around the edge to make the little cog shape because I couldn't be bothered cutting it too carefully. Used a little split pin that I put through. In America they're called brad clips, I believe. So you could actually do this on a page and then stick two pages together so that you could have this on the edge. So these are just little ones that I can pop in a book sometime. All good. All right. So I have a few here that I thought would work. And what inspired me to do this, I have a few sayings that I keep from magazines and different things I clip when I see some words and I think, oh, I like the sound of that. So I keep them. And I've got so many that I needed to use some up. So I thought, why not create these little wheels? And then you can have a little secret message going around. So I thought this one, feel like new again. And that could be the background because the white would stand out quite nicely with a nice contrast. And then this could be the foreground. And what this is actually a wheelie bin wheel. What do you call them? Auto bins. I have a little habit of going around and I'll take photos of little bits and pieces that just intrigue me or interest me, and I thought that was kind of nice because it's recycling and it goes with that saying, feel like new again. I don't know, it seemed really deep, so I thought I'd give that a go. And all these are, as I said, are just photos I've taken. I haven't printed them out in any special way. I've just printed them onto card, so they're a little bit thick. If you print them onto that photo paper you can get in bulk packs in places like Kmart, that helps as well. Sometimes I just put a little theme together and I'll put it on a background and then it looks like a picture. I bought one. Anyway, that's my theory. This one was just a knot in a tree that really, a knot in a post. I can't believe I can ever remember what these were. But that was a knot in a post that was by the lake. And I just quite liked it for some reason. And that was just a circle that was a pattern in the pavement that I took. So not that you'll see that circle because it'll be behind. And the saying I thought that would go with that is, it's never too late to learn. I thought, and you think about it, this is a little bit of old worldly craftsmanship. So there's all deep meanings, deep, deep, deep. It just shows you how my brain works. But I thought, yeah, that's some lovely old craftsmanship when they use those posts and they've actually planed them up and sanded them down to use on those lake foreshores. It's like a little nod to the past, and oldie worldy, and me being, you know, not a young chicken, I just felt like that kind of all melded in together. And then the final one that I'm giving a go is this one. And that one in the foreground, I've just got some stones. I haven't quite decided which way. Like, it should sit that way, but I feel like I can get away with it being this way with the wedge on the side there. Each of these, I'm just going to do the wedge on the side. But that's a lovely little rock wall. I love rock walls. Even though this one is with quite a bit of cement, it still looks lovely and it's pebbly, and my My 13-year-old still loves running across these kind of walls and the feel of them against his feet. So that's a happy memory for me. And I think this is a lovely saying that was from a book somewhere. Giving makes life rich. I think that's lovely. And even though I really like that in the little background here, I just felt that would work so well in a wheel as a little secret message that you could use. And this is one that I printed and it was a bit faded, and I felt like that would stand out nicely against that. So they're just flowers from my garden. I'm always taking photos of flowers and veggies from my garden. So yeah, I should print more of those out to use those. Anyway, why don't we start with this one, because there's going to be less need to be precise and I'm still fairly new at doing these. All right, shall I give you a little list of what you need? Yeah, why not? That helps. So you want a picture or a page that you're going to use as the front, and this will be something that you cut a wedge out of to turn a wheel underneath. You want something, so that's my top actually, then you want something to use as a wheel underneath. You want some words to put on the wheel. You need some glue, obviously. I find glue sticks pretty cool. These little split pins, but any style of split pins are going to be fine. And you want something to cut out your circles. So I suggest, if I use this, I mean, it's not terrifically accurate. This is just a fabric circle cutter that people use in patchworking. So you can cut, well, you'll see me use it in a minute, but you can cut any size of circles. So that's kind of handy. However, if you don't have that, seriously, do what you did at school. Get something round, draw a circle, get your scissors, cut out your circle. And that's another good way, obviously, to do these kind of things. What else do you need? That's it. That's it. So the glue is only to glue the words on. Everything else is just construction. They kind of call this in that pop-up world. Now, the only thing you want to make sure is when you're going to the middle, wherever you're deciding your middle is going to be on your wheel, you want to make sure it's long enough to hold your word, plus a little bit. And I'll show you what I mean by plus a little bit. So if you have a little look at this one, see how I've cut the wedge, but I've cut it straight across before I get to the center, because obviously otherwise it's not going to turn. So you need enough room for that little peeking bit there, and then your word. So all you want to do is you want to do your center line, work out where you'll come from. So draw a line across there and then just do it the same distance. So it doesn't matter if you're just kind of guessing. And then you're drawing your line down from back there. Otherwise, if you're drawing it from the center, you end out a bit too wide, but you might like that. You know, it's up to you. It's your creation. So I am now simply, all this is on the back. It's going to be taped under, so people aren't going to see this bit. Sometimes I actually simply fold that back to provide a bit of a stronger reinforcement behind this hole. Do you know what? I think I'll do that in this case as well. So now that I've done that, let me just make sure that I've got a good crease on that. You and you, and that's complete. So giving makes life rich. And then you could add a saying on the page. Something I was thinking of actually is you could do these and pop little words on them like memory or family, and they could be prompts for you to actually do something else with them. So if you're doing your own journal, you could have family, you could have words that relate to your family, or even make them slightly bigger and do some little portraits of your family. Quite lovely, and you can have as many words or things as you want. They're just so sweet, and I really love any journal or book that has an interactive element. It's my favorite thing. Okay, so now how about I do this one next? Now, it's never, I've got plenty of room on this one, so how about I just go to that circle, making sure, I reckon we can make that a bit bigger. There we go. Why don't we go there? All right, so this time I'll try and cut my circle out better. That looks like it's done a much better job because I actually applied the correct amount of pressure. Okay, next. I'm going to go, it's, now this has more words. We'll see how I decide to do this. How about it's never, how about too late to learn? Because that kind of makes more sense. A little bit like my days of secretarial temping. Or secretarial school, I should say, when you were taught what words were allowed to be separated in titles and things and what words weren't, and making sense to the reader. I don't know. I think they were probably trying to teach us grammar, which was a bit silly with me. Okay, it's never too late to learn. No problem. I'm just going to make that centre hole a little bit bigger so I can see it. I wonder. Now that's something else that you can do as well. You can add one of these behind your brad with your wedge coming out. So there are lots of different options, obviously. Now let's go. Let's do my pinking shears first, because that definitely worked better doing that first. I tried to do it after the first time, and that was definitely a little bit more challenging. Okay, I'm going to try and match them up now. We'll see if that works, because I'm sure that when you get to the end, it's not going to go on exactly the same tooth that it did when it started, but that's all right. Going a bit deeper on this one, but it will still work, so that's okay. Got that little pile over there because I want to use them for making paper. I promise I'm going to try out my paper maker, hopefully in the next couple of days. We'll see if it's actually any good. That wonderful kids paper maker that I got for Christmas from Crayola. Well, not from Crayola, from my family, because they know me very well. And yeah, wonderful stuff. Alrighty, now I just wanted to use that to give myself a bit of an idea. Which one's longer? Too late to learn? Probably too late. Oh, do you know what? I didn't leave myself enough room, so maybe I do need to do 6. Let's do that. It's never too late to learn, which means never is the longest. And I definitely want to trim you down just a bit. Just enough, so it's not going to be a huge wedge in the middle this time. and I'm comfortable with that. Now let's work out, it's never too late to learn. So 6, oh no, what angle's 6? 30? Probably could work it out on my pad here, but let's just, you know, guess it. My standard response. Now this means I want to probably make sure these aren't too high, because it's nice if in your wedge you don't see the previous one. See, and now doing this, I realise I should have actually cut a much bigger circle, but I didn't. And that is how it goes, and those little mistakes, they end up making us more creative to try and find solutions. It's never too I don't know if this is going to work on that one. Maybe I need to cut another circle entirely. Why don't I just cut it on a piece of plain paper? Don't know if it's big enough to work on another one either, but we're about to find out. Just finding center by folding it. And let's see if when I do this circle, if that's going to be big enough. Because if it's not, then those words need to be saved for a bigger circle. Let's see how big I can get this circle and if it's going to be big enough. Oh, you know what? It might be okay. It's never... It might be okay. What about if I had this inside this? Okay, I reckon we can do this. Okay, this time I'm going to kind of cheat. Go like that. And what I've done is I've just used my mat to work out the halfway middle point on this piece of card. It was 9 centimeters by 9 centimeters, so it was pretty easy to work out. 4.5. So now I'll just cut that and cut that side. And I mean, if you wanted to before you did it, you could remove all of your workings, but as I say, it's not necessary because people aren't going to see this part anyway. Put that there for a little bit of extra strength. That side and that side. Voila. Have I still got the blade up? Yes, I have, so I can do a little pokey hole. Okay, I think I've worked these out. Yeah, I think that's going to work. I just did a bigger wheel as well. And so, stick my words down. Going anti-clockwise for no reason whatsoever. So there's still an even number, so I'm imagining an imaginary line going straight across as I put these down. And hopefully this will work. You know, if not, then maybe I'll put it on a page that has a bit of a children's theme and we can pretend that little Sally was sitting there playing away and she did her best rather than the old woman before you. Here we go. So this is where I want to really make sure I just kind of follow that line across, imagining it's not quite straight, is it? We'll see. Hopefully we won't see the other words in the wedge, or if we do, it will be okay. It's a nice thing about creating, you kind of never really know how it's going to turn out. I tend to, anyone who knows me won't believe this, but I tend to be a bit of a perfectionist. And so creativity is one of those places where I can let myself relax because I have no choice. Creativity, it kind of just comes out however it comes out. And now just construct. Okay, let's grab, I think we need a red one this time. Those words kind of blend into the background. However, I think we can make it work. Or I think it still works is what I'm trying to say. Come on. Just struggling to get it through the little hole that I pre-prepared earlier. Don't know why it's being more precious, just is. Let me make a bigger hole. What am I doing? I don't know. I'm supposed to be telling you what I'm doing, aren't I? I don't know myself. Okay, then you go in there, in there, and then let's see, it's learn to, okay, this one apparently goes the other way. It's never, see, I'm not happy with that. Can I pull this back a little bit more to just give that a little bit extra, or you know, like just enough, just the amount that it needs, and still look okay? We shall see. We shall see. And ow, don't point the needle bit into your finger because it really hurts. Now, can I pull them up and change them? Oh, I can't really because they're all going to tear. It was worth having a look at. So, you know, this one will be anti-clockwise. It's never too late to learn. Okay, so they're still all in the same order. I could just add an arrow on the edge to show the direction like they do in kids' pop-up books. So I've got a few pop-up bits and pieces that I love to show everyone. And as I said at the beginning, this is all very simple. However, sometimes we all just complicate it. As I did with that one. So it's, there we go, it's never too late to learn. It's, there we go. I mean, I could have just nudged that little never a little bit more. Obviously, if you're measuring this, you get it exactly right. But I reckon that's good enough for taxpayers. Now, when you stick these down, what you're doing is you're actually just sticking the edges, obviously. So just these corner bits is what you stick to your page, because that way your wheel can turn. Now this one will be really nice and strong because I've added that card behind it. So that's probably not a bad idea. And you'll notice I cut this wedge from just pulling apart the previous one that we did. So I just thought, oh, I'll just use that again, pull it apart, which is another nice thing because you've got flexibility. So if later on when you're putting it onto a page you feel like you want to add something else to it, you actually can do that if you leave the backs open like this. You could also put a piece of material around behind these circles, so you know, something like a bit of lace even, so that it pokes out the edge of a book. There are lots of ways that you can customize these, which is pretty cute. All right, let's see if I'm any quicker at doing the last one. And now that I've put that one back together, I'm going to grab that again and just see if that's going to work probably want a deeper wedge for that. But that'll be alright. I think what I'll do is I'll just do the same as what I did again, and I'll go from the middle of this. And so let me work out, that is going to roughly be the middle that way. And the other way, that is going to roughly be the middle that way. Gee, these grid mats work well, even though I really dislike this shade of green and yellow. It does stand out, doesn't it? So that's where I want my centre, which will probably be almost the centre of the wheel. That's kind of cool. So I'm going to put a hole through there now. Why not? Okay, it's roughly through there. Then, next I'm going to cut out my words. Feel like new again. Well, that's a good one to finish this little session off with, isn't it? It is New Year, so hopefully we do all feel a little bit more like new again. I think we're all a bit shell-shocked after the last few years, aren't we? You know, brings some easier times for everybody. Feel like new again. Excellent. That's the background bit. Sure. Oh, well, I've gone the centre, so I guess I'm going to have to do that on this too. I mean, I don't have to. It's not like that hole is particularly obvious. However, let's do it anyway. Roughly there. Now, I do like it to be just inside, and I think this will make it just inside. Yes, it will. Around and round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. Not even her. I just love these interactive book features. I love junk journals and I love sketch notebooks. Love all of them, but I think whenever I can add an interactive element, gosh, it feels great. I just adore it. There we go. So I've got you in the centre, and I'm going to go boom, 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 whoops, boom, 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 boom. Okay. Let's have a look how big that goes. And let's think about if that's going to be a problem. So if I have a look, no, I think that's going to be absolutely fine. And it's going to come from roughly there. And except it's got to come on that corner. Silly girl. Have I got it on the right side this time? Yes, I have. Okay. Now I can get my scissors, cut that wedge out. So you got the gist now. Once you've done it once, it's pretty easy to do. So obviously, if you wanted to, you could actually have 2 circles on top of each other with a wedge out of them as well. I like this little idea of the hidden one behind the pages. You really do have a lot of options on this one. A lot of options on what you can put in them, on how to construct them, a lot of options. I even like sometimes just doing one of those swirly patterns on them and just putting them down on a page, a circle down on a page with a split pin through it, and then you can see the pattern as it swirls around. Even that sometimes is quite nice. Alrighty, all I've got to do is stick down my words, and then this one is done too. So feel, I think it's that way, isn't it? Won't get it wrong this time. Feel like. Now I know you can't see the centre there, but I can just see that little dot in the middle. Feel like new again. Well, that is certainly the sentiment for this year. Feel like new again. I've got a lot of ideas and things I've really reflected this year. It's not like I've sat down and thought of New Year's resolutions, but I've just really reflected on the things that are happening for me this year and just some of the different ways some things might look. Now, the only thing I've done here is I've made it exactly in that spot. We'll see if I still get enough of a purchase, because it is nice to have a little bit more. It's nice to have a little bit poking out because it's easier to do it on the edge. However, it does also work flush. It just might mean putting a stiffer card behind your back piece, and then you'll find it'll be easier to turn. Come on, go through. You can do it. Keep going. Ah, you got there. See, I knew you could do it. Feel like new again. Isn't that awesome? So there you go. That's them all done. Let me just pop this one back together and I'll show them all to you. All right, so here we go. Feel like new again. That's that one. Giving makes life rich. That's that one. And then this one is, it's never too late to learn. So that's those. And then the original two, this one you'll notice it was a shallower wedge, so if you've got longer words that or longer pieces, that's easier. So this one is, a new season of adventure awaits. With the first one I did, and that was a well-being one, smiling, laughing, loving, being. So I hope you enjoyed those today. I have a few more different bits and pieces of interactive elements like this coming up that I'd really love to share with you. Just bits and pieces that I've enjoyed doing myself that I thought I'd share. But in the meantime, keep creating and I'll see you next time. Bye.